Welcome to the 3CoSports podcast with your three co-hosts, Luke, Alex, and Angel.
Welcome back to the podcast that entertains, informs, and helps you win. Alex, how are you doing over there?
Doing pretty good today. How about you, Luke?
I'm good. I got a lot of homework to do after this, but we're chilling. Got to talk to some wide receivers today. I'm excited about it. Angel, how are you doing?
Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing pretty good. Much like you, also have a lot of homework to do.
Pain.
Dude. Tell me about it. How many years do you have left?
2. I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore. This is my last semester, and I'm like crawling towards the end. Like defeated, broken, just crawling.
As long as you cross that finish line, it doesn't matter how you get there.
Exactly.
You can do it.
You could say the same thing about Jimmy Garoppolo and the Patriots.
That's true. There's been a lot of rumors, apparently, that Patriots' top target as quarterback this offseason is Jimmy Garoppolo, which is pretty interesting. I can see a bit of a reunion there, but I'm not a huge fan of the move, personally. I'm not a Patriots fan, though, so I don't know how you guys feel about Jimmy G coming back. I just don't know. I feel like the Patriots need to rebuild and kind of move towards the future, and I don't really think, even if they get, like, a really, really elite quarterback dropped into New England next season, that they'd be anything more than like a 9-7 team, just because their weapons are so poor. But I don't know. I feel like they need to kind of rebuild a little bit. But what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I like Jimmy Garoppolo because I've seen him play well for the Patriots. Albeit he played like about 4 games for us, and that was a very good Patriots team he played on. So
wait, not even. It was 2 games, and then he got hurt, right?
Right, yeah. He got hurt. But yeah, I mean, I don't dislike Jimmy Garoppolo. I wasn't a huge fan of his 49ers run. Sorry, my cat just fell. He's okay though.
Oh no.
Jimmy Garoppolo. No, my cat is a little bit more durable than Jimmy Garoppolo, it seems.
Would you say that Jimmy Garoppolo is made of ants and sticks? Yes or no?
He's made of like a different material than ants and sticks. He's made of like cotton balls and like Q-tips. Like he's a different type of soft. His health is not. I would not be expecting to see Jimmy Garoppolo play a lot of games if he does come to New England. If he stays in San Francisco, I don't expect him to play a ton of games either for the same reasons. But like when he's playing well, he's pretty good. I don't hate him. Like if the Patriots got him for like a 4th or 5th round pick, that'd be pretty good.
You really think they could get him for a 4th or 5th though, just because the salary is so large?
I think it depends on what the 49ers want to do. Like if they're like, okay, we got to get rid of Jimmy, like sure. Especially if they try to trade a bunch of picks to get Watson, like they might need those like 4th and 5th round picks. Because I don't know what the market for Jimmy Garoppolo is outside of the Patriots.
Dude, I'm honestly starting to believe that Deshaun Watson is not going to get traded. I saw a report this morning that the Texans are willing to let Deshaun Watson sit out the season.
Wow.
Which is honestly so stupid. I don't understand what they're doing. But I don't know if he's going to get dealt this offseason. I'm starting to feel like Russell Wilson's more likely to get dealt before Deshaun Watson does, which is kind of crazy.
It would be a shame if Deshaun Watson doesn't get dealt. I mean, Houston's not going anywhere for the foreseeable future.
My dynasty team would be very sad that I just drafted. I traded up for Deshaun Watson. So if Deshaun Watson sits out this year, I'll be very sad.
That would be tough.
Oh, that would be really tough. Do you think the weapons that the Texans have right now are enough for Watson to come back and be a QB5 again or better?
Well, I mean, if he did it last year, I don't see why he couldn't do it again. But I don't think Will Fuller is returning to Houston most likely. I think he'll go elsewhere because the franchise is pointing downward big time. So I feel like it'll probably be Brandon Cooks and a bunch of dudes running around. No shade to Kiki QT or Kenny Bills. But I feel like they have to draft a wide receiver if they want to keep that receiving core afloat in the 2nd round. Well, they don't have a pick. They have like a 3rd rounder, right? They have like no draft capital. So
they have almost no draft capital.
They have like none, dude. So yeah, if I'm Watson, seriously, I just want out of there. Like I should just sit down with the ownership and just be like, guys, listen, I know you want to keep me, but I'm not playing for you anymore. Just like, please trade me. But they're probably just gonna be like, nope, we're keeping you. So I don't know. It's a hot mess in Houston.
Well, it's funny you should mention wide receivers because I do believe that's exactly what we're talking about today. So,
Indeed,
Nick
indeed.
Caserio? How do you say his name, Alex?
Caserio, I believe.
Nick Caserio. If you're listening right now, pay attention. Draft some of these rookie wide receivers and make Deshaun Watson happy again. Do you think they'll listen to us?
Maybe.
Who knows? It's hard to say.
I don't think
Yeah, it's really
Caserio
hard
is a
to
friend of
say.
the pod, unfortunately.
Maybe not. I mean,
Maybe not.
honestly, the Texans front office, they aren't doing much research themselves lately. As you can tell,
Oh,
so, no shade, but also a lot of
scathing.
shade. So,
Scathing.
yeah, alrighty.
Why don't we talk a little bit about the one wide receiver we know they're not going to get because he's so widely renowned, Jamar Chase. Alex, how do you feel about Jamar Chase going into the season?
I like Jamar Chase. I mean, there was a reason that people were like, this guy could be a generational wide receiver last season. Even though he didn't play in 2020, like his 2019 tape is so good that it's hard to really like knock him. I'd say he's the best all around pro ready receiver I've seen in a draft since Amari Cooper. And he's just like a super physical dude. He plays like a grown man despite being an underclassman. And I think what really stood out to me about him at LSU was how he was objectively the better receiver prospect alongside Justin Jefferson, who was a record-setting rookie. And yeah, like he reminds me a lot of Anquan Bolden, where he's just like a big physical dude. He's very skilled. He's very athletic. He's not the most like fast or twitchy guy, but he gets the job done. What are you thinking, Luke?
Yeah. I totally agree. He's my wide receiver one in this draft class just because I feel like he just has that special it factor that you're looking for in a wide receiver. I feel like everyone's always looking for the next dominant X, like the next Julio, the next Calvin Johnson, the next, DeAndre Hopkins, etc. And I feel like Jamar Chase is cut from the same cloth as that kind of guy, like the very physical, he can kind of do it all, X wide receiver that can kind of carry your offense. And I think Jamar Chase is just a special athlete. There's some knacks that people are finding about him on Twitter. Like I've seen people who watch their film and say that like he looks lazy running routes or stuff like that. But I feel like it's more of a play style thing. He's so physical in his routes. Press coverage, he kind of just like shoves the guy to the ground. I mean, he's just an absolute monster. I think Chase is going to be very good the next level. But there's plenty of great receivers in this class. So yeah, he's definitely my wide receiver one. But wide receiver 2 that we're going to talk about soon is very close. Angel, how do you feel about Jamar Chase?
I know that we're not supposed to focus on stats a lot when it comes to college players, but 1,780 yards and 20 touchdowns as a true sophomore is kind of insane. I mean,
Yeah.
Putting those numbers into context, and they were coming with Joe Burrow, a quarterback, sure, but those are record-breaking numbers. Much like you said, Luke, it looks like he has that it factor. His route running is good. His ball skills are good. His post-catchability is fantastic. He's physical. His blocking was great. Shout out to Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, there's no knocks on this guy, So to me, he's also my wide receiver 1. Right behind my wide receiver 2, Devonte Smith.
Yeah.
Nice.
So for Devonte Smith, I really like him a lot. I think that he is wide receiver 1 for a lot of people just because I feel like people like the more flashy route running ability that Smith brings to the table. And I do definitely see that he gets insane amounts of separation. And he didn't he win the Heisman? Yeah, he won the Heisman, right?
Yeah.
And he lit up the college championship game this past year. He had like 200 receiving yards and like 3 touchdowns or something in like the first half. It was just insane. Smith is a very talented guy. And I definitely think he'll be an elite wide receiver at the next level. So I don't even know. I really like Devonte Smith, though. I feel like he'll be a great fit for whatever team he lands on in the NFL draft. So, Angel, what do you think about him?
Well, I'm just going to say what everyone else is saying. He's a slender wideout, so that gives me a little bit of pause. But everything else about his game is so great that it's hard for me to really knock him. His route running is fantastic. He creates separation. He's good on special teams as well. I'm sure if they put him as a punt returner, oh my God, he would be dangerous. So there's not too many knocks on him. If your one knock is your size, I feel like more often than not, that doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
How do you feel about him, Alex?
I mean, there's so much to like about him. He's very polished, very mature. I mean, he's thin, yeah, but he plays much bigger than his listed height and weight. If by looking at him, you'd be like, oh, this guy's probably not going to do any of the stuff that he's known for doing, which is just beating guys one-on-one with his speed and with his strength. Like, he's just a very good, very complete receiver. And though the thing that I like about him a lot is he plays the position in a very natural way. Like, he looks so comfortable out there, and he just looks like he belongs like in the NFL as a wide receiver one. Like, I have no doubt that he'll be able to transition regardless of where he lands. The only thing that kind of concerns me about his production from this past year is it was definitely inflated by having plays drawn up just for him. Like, he led the nation in screen catches and screen receiving yards, which, I mean, you could say two things about that. You could say, okay, so they manufactured a lot of touches for him, but you could also say, well, he did something with those touches by leading the nation in receiving yards on screen passes. And yeah, like, I think there's a lot to nitpick about him, but none of it really has a place in deciding what kind of player he's going to be. I think he's going to be a good player, and I really like him a lot. I had a hard time putting him behind Jamar Chase, but something about Jamar Chase,
Same.
I just like Jamar Chase better. I don't know what it is. I think maybe I'm biased against skinny receivers. Maybe that's my thing. But yeah, my pro comp for him is Marvin Harrison. So there's a high ceiling.
Dude, I was
for
just
Devonte
about to
Smith.
say that. I've seen that all over the place, and I feel like it's a great copy. Yeah, Marvin Harrison, dude. He's so good, and like Alex said, I also really struggled with putting him below Jamar Chase. But something about Jamar Chase, when you watch him on film, like, he just feels so special. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Smith has a higher floor than Chase does, but the ceiling of Chase is higher as far as, like, I feel like Chase could one day develop into like the best wide receiver in the NFL, and Smith also could, but like, I don't know. I just feel like Chase has more of a ceiling than Smith does, but they're both so good. They're so good.
Right.
Angel, you want to get into our next guy?
I was going to ask real quick. You guys think it might be that LSU bias? I mean, we've seen Odell come out of there. We've seen Justin Jefferson just break rookie records coming out of LSU. It might just be that those LSU's colors making wide receivers look good.
Yeah, maybe. I don't like, when I watch players, I try to avoid bias of what uniform they're wearing as much as possible, and just like, look how good they are. But I mean, they've been producing some great talent recently.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the LSU bias.
Go ahead, Alex.
I don't have the LSU bias. I have a bias against Alabama guys, though. I don't like Alabama colors. They turn me off. So I'll admit to that one.
Interesting.
Well, Alabama colors might turn you off, Alex, but luckily our next guy doesn't have any Alabama colors. That was probably my worst transition of all time. Yep,
Yeah,
probably the worst. Why don't we talk a little bit about Rondale Moore?
Yeah, let's
Alex,
talk
take it
about
away.
Rondale Moore. I really like Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore, I've connected with him on LinkedIn, so that's an extra bonus.
Actually?
Yeah, he's my LinkedIn connection.
That's funny.
What?
He's I haven't talked to him, but maybe I'll hit him up.
Maybe one day.
Maybe someday. Yeah, he's like a super dynamic player. Like, he's just explosive. Like, that's the one word that comes to mind when I watch him. He's after the catch a dynamo. He's awesome, and he's got really good hands, and he's, as I said, a great athlete, which is that's already a good combo to start off with a prospect. Like, you can see the projectability for fantasy success right there. And he's like super physical for a guy who would be classified as a small guy. He's 5'9", 180, which on paper doesn't seem like a very big receiver.
That's pretty tiny.
But the way that he plays, you're just like, it's almost Deebo Samuel-esque how he runs after the catch. Like, it's just hard to bring him down. He's like a running back. And he's just like, the only thing that people can really knock him for is his injury issues. And like, injuries, sure, they play a factor in stuff, but I don't really like to think about that when I'm thinking about like the absolute upside of a player, because we've seen a lot of injury-prone college players like Frank Gore go on to almost never miss games once they go into the NFL. So like, that's all you can really say about that. And my comparisons for him as a pro are a bit lofty, I'd say. My first one is Tyreek Hill, which is like an absolute ceiling.
Wow.
Absolute ceiling. Like, that's the best he could possibly do. But I think a more realistic one is Steve Smith. I think they play very, very, very similar styles of football. Just super physical, smaller guys, really fast, really tough. Yeah.
I really like that Steve Smith comp.
You like that?
I love that, actually. That makes That makes a lot of sense when I think about it. I mean, I've seen a lot of people compare him to Laviska Shenault, but obviously Laviska's a lot bigger. So I feel like that Steve Smith comparison really connects the best of both worlds. So I really like that comp.
I feel like people were comping Jalen Reagor to Steve Smith last year, were they not?
That could be. I feel like I saw more like I saw a lot of Tyreek Hill. I know that, and I was like, no, they're not Tyreek Hill. No, don't say that. This time I feel confident about it. Like, there's only one guy who I would compare to Tyreek Hill legitimately, and it's Rondale Moore.
Does Rondale Moore have the burners like that? Is he that fast?
He got the wheels. That guy's he's gonna be in the low 4.3s. He's gonna be a great combine watch.
What wide receiver is he ranked for you, Alex? I don't know if you have your rankings done, but
I have him as wide receiver 3, like just upside wise.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay,
I
so
like him a
you're
lot.
kind of high on him then. Okay.
Very high.
Yeah, I like Moore quite a bit. I think you just did a good job of describing him, Alex. I feel like he has some nice speed, really good yak ability. I really like his ability to get some yards after the catch. He can make a guy miss in space, and he plays above his size, like you said. I think he has a good skill set for fantasy football because we've seen guys like Deebo Samuel and Laviska Shenault, Curtis Samuel, Paris Campbell, guys like that have some fantasy success who can get the ball in space and get do things with manufactured touches. And then obviously the ceiling is there once you get some more receiving work instead of just like screen passes and dump offs to really make some impact in the fantasy football world. So it'll definitely, I think, depend a little bit more on landing spot for Rondale Moore than other guys, but I definitely am interested in him going forward. I think he's around my wide receiver 5-ish right now. I haven't watched too much film on him yet, but I feel like he's around that territory for me so far.
That's fair.
He's my wide receiver 4. He's actually just right below the next guy that we're about to talk about. But before we talk about the next guy, we've talked about polished wide receivers. We talked about dynamic wide receivers. So I want to talk about a polished and dynamic DFS app, Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight is a DFS website that features fantasy games for sports such as the NFL, NHL, NASCAR. That's right, Alex. NASCAR.
NASCAR.
And much more. You can even play
NASCAR.
DFS for esports and NASCAR. So what are you waiting for? Go on monkeyknifefight.com and use promo code 3CO, that's the number 3CO, to double your initial deposit up to $50. Go make some MKFing money on this polished
NASCAR.
and explosive app on NASCAR.
NASCAR.
I feel like we should just become a NASCAR pod.
I feel like we
this
should change
point.
our promo code for Monkey Knife Fight to NASCAR.
That's a good one.
I don't think they'll let us, but that'd be funny.
That'd
All
be
right, so we
pretty
getting into
great.
our next guy, Angel?
Yeah, why don't we? Let's talk about
All right.
Mr. Jalen Waddle. How do you guys feel about him?
I'll take it away. Jalen Waddle is the next speed receiver that everyone's going to fall in love with because they run really quick. But I feel like Jalen Waddle is better than the other guys who have come out recently, like better than Henry Ruggs, Hollywood Brown, John Ross, etc. Because Waddle, while he does have that burner speed ability, I think he also is a polished receiver as far as being able to actually like run routes and be an efficient wide receiver rather than just being able to run in a straight line. John Ross. But anyway, I do really like Jalen Waddle, though. I think he's my wide receiver 3 right now. Waddle has nice speed and ability to just make plays. He's a complete game wrecker when he gets the ball in his hands in space, and he can just really, really run with the ball in his hands after the catch. He has great vision. I've seen in some plays of his being able to just turn upfield and go for like a 70-yard touchdown. And I really like that ability in wide receivers to take a slant to the house. And I just really like I like Waddle a good bit. I feel like he might get some knocks against him because of his speed and being a speed guy, but I feel like he's more than just a speed guy, so I definitely like Waddle. Alex, you said you're turned off by Alabama colors, so how do you feel about Jalen Waddle?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my first thoughts about Jalen Waddle are so biased that I feel guilty about them because I see the Alabama. Okay, like I see the Alabama colors and I'm like, this guy's just gonna be Henry Ruggs. And then I also see,
Ooh.
I know, and then I see that his name's Waddle, and I'm like, there's no way this guy's as fast as they say. His name's Waddle. How are you gonna waddle and be fast? But
Alex, I'm starting to doubt your scouting abilities.
well, here's where I'm gonna bring it back. What I've seen from him, I like a lot. Like he's really, really, really explosive, and he's really polished, which is a rare combo to find. I feel like you're either one or the other. He reminds me a lot, honestly, of Odell Beckham where it's just like, wow, this guy could be like super special despite being not that big. Like he's like 5'10", 180. Like he's a bit small for an outside receiver, and he's a bit fragile too.
It's a pretty average sized receiver. Little small, little light.
Yeah, but as we see with Devonte Smith, your weight doesn't mean everything. And I think Jalen Waddle could be pretty good. I'm not sure if I'm sold on him becoming like a wide receiver 1 in the NFL, but I could definitely see him being a very productive receiver from the start and having a nice long career as long as he can stay healthy. Like his injuries are a bit concerning to me. I don't like the way that he handled the coming back from the ankle injury and looking still injured and then re-injuring it. Like that was like, ooh, that was troubling. But yeah, Angel, I'd like to hear what you think about Jalen.
Jalen Waddle is my wide receiver 3. He's slightly above Rondale Moore, but I like Jalen Waddle's route running a little bit more, and I'm all in on the guy with great route running. He reminds me a little bit of this is like the Doom player comp, but a little bit of Tyreek Hill, in that he is like Tyreek Hill in that he's explosive, he can make yards after the catch, but he can also just run right by you. So I'm actually pretty high on him.
I like that. But just real quick, I think a great fit for Jalen Waddle is the New York Giants at number 11. I would really like that fit. I feel like he'd be a great weapon in that offense.
He could be Odell.
Ooh, with the Giants?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be nice, dude. They need a receiver.
I kind of like that, having Jalen Waddle on the outside. You can probably move him around. Sterling Shepard on the inside. That's a great fit. Holy crap. Nice, Luke.
I like that one.
Very nice.
I'm curious to see where you'll think Rashad Bateman can fit in.
Yeah, Bateman. I actually really like Bateman. He's my wide receiver 4, but I think he might be a late riser for me. Dude, have you seen his quads? Quad Twitter. Talk to me. Listen, nice. This man has tree trunk quads. You like AJ Dillon's quads? You like Saquon Barkley? Listen to me. I got a player for you. His name's Rashad Bateman, and he has quads for days. No, that's not actually why I like him. But seriously, he has a great blend of talent. I think he has a great build to be a dominant wide receiver at the next level. If he goes to the right system, gets a little bit more polish on some of his abilities, I think he has all the tools to be a featured wide receiver at the next level. I just think he needs to go to the right landing spot, get developed the right way, and take the next step. But he shows great potential to be a very, very good player at the next level. I feel like he'll be around the mid to late first round, maybe more towards the late side. I feel like the Browns might be an interesting fit at 26, but I feel like they're going to go defense. The Saints would be nice at 28. Who are some other teams? The Titans at 22 would be nice. Dude, imagine Bateman and A.J. Brown. That'd be nasty.
That would be a nice combo.
Dear Lord. But yeah, I think they are going to have a very nice... Bateman's going to have a very nice combine, kind of pro day, kind of rise towards the end of the draft process, and I feel like he could sneak his way up the draft board for some people.
Yeah, I can see it. I feel like Bateman is like, he's a very accomplished receiver. Like at Minnesota, he was just a good player. Like there was nothing you could really knock him for. And he stood out on a team that had Tyler Johnson, who was also like a really good prospect and a really good player. And yeah, I just like, there's just nothing you can really take away from him because he's fast, he's physical, good route runner, good hands, good body control, good technique. Like he can play inside or outside, which is kind of rare for a guy who's about 6'3". Like once you start getting into those taller receivers, the versatility kind of goes out the window usually. But I mean, I could compare him to either like a guy like Keenan Allen or like a guy who's a more traditional boundary receiver like Allen Robinson. Like he could be either of those types of guys, just depending on how he develops at the NFL level. But there's just so much to like about him. He's got a really high floor, really high ceiling, like just great player, honestly.
I like how you compared him to both Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson, because he is good enough to be that Keenan Allen type player. He ran a lot of in routes at Minnesota, and he excelled at getting separation. But he's also tough enough to go up and get the ball. He's tough enough to make those tough yards after the catch. He can really do it all as a wide receiver. I do feel like he doesn't have that it when it comes to like that one skill that sets him apart from the rest of the pack, which is why he's my wide receiver 5. He's not as high as some of the other guys. But I could see him being a consistent, solid wide receiver 2 at a fantasy level and a solid wide receiver 1 for an NFL team. I think if he lands on the team where he isn't the wide receiver one, much like you said, Luke, like the Titans, that would be ideal for him. So what do you guys think? Where would you like to see him go? If you could pick one spot for him.
Titans.
Yeah. I feel like I want to be a little bit different. I would say Bears if they let Allen Robinson go, because I think he's a nice plug and play.
Great one. That's a great one. Yeah, I like that a lot as well.
Well, along with Darnell Mooney, that might be a pretty explosive offense if they get our man Russell Wilson in there.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be unlimited, if you know what I'm saying.
Nice.
Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. Wow. We make way too much fun of Russell Wilson on this podcast. He's never going to want to come on.
I guess we're never going to get Russell Wilson as a guest. Oh, well.
Sad.
All right, let's get into our next guy.
It's fine. I wouldn't want Russell Wilson as a guest, but why don't we talk about Tylan Wallace? Luke, take it away. What do you think about him?
So Tylan Wallace, I haven't watched much of his film at all so far, if I'm being honest. I haven't done my homework on Tylan Wallace that much yet, but what I've seen of him, I feel like he just needs to get in the right landing spot. He could be an interesting fantasy player if he lands in the right spot and develops well. I feel like we're starting to head towards more of the third round territory for some of these receivers. So I feel like he has a nice skill set and like body type. I just think he needs to develop a little bit more. In college, he didn't run that many different kinds of routes. He was very structured in the offense. He only ran a certain few times of routes, so we didn't really get to see that much of his route running potential, which is a bit interesting. Gives him a bit more of a wild card feel. But I mean, if it all comes together for him, it could be very nice. Alex, what do you think about him?
Yeah, I like Tylan Wallace a lot, and I feel like I've liked him a lot for longer than most people, just because from what I've seen of him at Oklahoma State, he's a really good vertical threat, super good athlete, really good hands. Like in contested situations, he's a dog. He's only 5'11", like 200 pounds, but he plays like a much bigger receiver, and he's a super good athlete. He's not very twitchy, which makes me feel like he might never become like a great route runner, but you don't really have to, as long as you can get open and make plays when when it's a tough throw. If you can make a play on that, like, you're fine. And yeah, my pro comparison for him is a poor man's version of Stephon Diggs. I think they do a lot of similar things. I don't think he's going to be Stephon Diggs though. There's no way he's going to be Stephon
Diggs.
So what would be the NFL equivalent of a poor man's Stephon Diggs?
See, that's the tough one. It's hard.
Gabriel Davis.
Maybe. I don't know. We need like a guy who's like kind of undersized, really good athlete. But
John Brown?
Nah, John Brown's too small. It doesn't work. It's a tough one.
It doesn't matter. You get the point.
Yeah, you get the point. Poor man's.
The people know what we're saying.
A poor man's Stephon Diggs. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys summarized it pretty well. He doesn't really pop out when it comes to any of his traits. He's not really the fastest guy in the world. He's not the most polished route runner, but he does have a really good ability to high point the ball and come down with those 50-50 catches. So he could profile as a red zone threat despite his limited size. That's an important ability for any wide receiver to have. I will say, when I saw the fact that this man was born after me, I kind of had a bit of a life crisis when I realized that this man's about to be drafted into the NFL at the age of 20. Well, here I am talking about him on the podcast. So, Tylan, if you're listening, you gave me a life crisis. Thank you.
Tough. Very tough.
Very tough.
Alrighty.
But moving on to our next guy, Kadarius Toney. Oh, God, did I butcher that name?
No, you got it perfect. 100%.
Oh, I got it perfect.
Angel, why don't you take this one first?
I don't have too much to say about him. I haven't done my homework as much with him, but I do like him because he's electric in the slot. And if you guys know me at all, you know that I'm all for guys that are electric in the slot. If I could, I'm a slot man. Give me Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin, those types. Love the slot guys. How do you feel about him, Luke?
I like him, yeah. I think I agree with what you're saying. I feel like he's a nice wide receiver 3 kind of fit to an NFL team. He has a nice skill set overall, and I feel like if he is polished up more by the right development group, he could be a very, very solid wide receiver at the NFL. I feel like he could be like Tyler Boyd-ish in the sense that he could be just a very consistent guy who, like, every week he can give you a really good game as an NFL wide receiver. He's just like always like there and consistent and open as like a wide receiver 2 to 3 kind of position on an NFL team. Tony, I think he shows flashes of good potential, and I feel like if he's polished and lands in the right spot, he could turn into a very nice NFL wide receiver. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely a late riser. Like, he's one of the guys who was actually able to break into this group of elite guys, which has mostly remained the same until now. Like, him and like Elijah Moore are probably the only 2 guys who really rose into this group. And yeah, like, he's super, super, super fun to watch. After the catch, like, he reminds me almost of Tavon Austin in the way that he's like, wow, like, this guy's like electric. And I don't think his play style is completely like Tavon Austin, but just in that area of his game. He's not like, I mean, he's not a very polished route runner, and like there's gonna be a lot of manufactured touches for him early on because his biggest strength is to get the ball and go with it. So if the right team takes him, that won't be a problem because manufacturing touches is a very normal part of the NFL game now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah, and he's a little bit gadgety, but gadgety's not necessarily a bad thing. He gives me some real...
Gadgety's getting better. Gadgety's getting better in the modern day NFL. People are embracing gadgety.
Yeah, for sure. He reminds me of D.D. Westbrook. That was my comp for him. I thought, D.D. and Kadarius Toney. I was like, yeah, that works.
I used to be really high on D.D. Westbrook, not gonna lie. I love that guy.
I feel like a lot of people were.
He was pretty good, honestly. He was a great college player, and then just kind of fell into some weird Jaguar stuff, like wrong place at the wrong time.
Jaguar stuff. Well, Alex, you mentioned Elijah Moore, so why don't you go ahead and take it away when it comes to him? How do you feel about him?
Elijah Moore, I like him a lot. Really good slot receiver, very physical, very tough. He gets hit a ton, and he just bounces right back up from it. He's some great hands, too. He only had 10 drops on 200 catchable targets in his college career, which is just like...
That's crazy.
Yeah,
great
it's like slot receiver. You want a guy who's going to be a vacuum. That's exactly what he is. Ole Miss relied on him a ton this year. They were just like... They'd go to him every game. I think he had 86 catches in 8 games, which is like
that's wild.
It's crazy. And yeah, like he's just a nice fit as a slot receiver in the NFL. Like, you can see exactly what he's going to be. He reminds me of kind of like Emmanuel Sanders mixed with Cole Beasley. A lot of SMU vibes from been made. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Yeah, so for him, I really like his blend of skill set. I think he has a nice physical mindset. He has great hands, as you said, nice toughness. I feel like he has nice little bursts of speed. His route running isn't the best, but I feel like if he's polished more, I feel like he'll, yeah, like you said, he's a little bit gadgety, but he's a nice modern day NFL wide receiver, and I feel like if he goes to the right system, he can really develop into a solid wide receiver. I feel like he has that nice burst play ability. He can get you some explosive plays, and he can really make stuff happen on the field, which is awesome to see. You love to see players who can really just open up the game for your offense and kind of make defenses respect you when you're on the field, and I feel like he could bring that potential skill set to the NFL.
For sure.
It's funny you both mentioned physical, because when I watched him, what popped out the most, or what, I saw the most when it came to him was his ability to catch the ball in traffic. Alex, you mentioned that he pretty much had no drops, but it's one thing not to drop the ball, and it's another thing to not drop the ball when you're getting hit full force by the defense, which is what he was doing. So if he lands on the right team, I don't see him ever being fantasy relevant, like being more than a wide receiver 3, a low-end wide receiver 3. But in terms of the NFL, I think he has a lot of potential to be a good player on the right team. A lot of potential, much like Terrace Marshall. Alex, how do you feel about him?
Terrace Marshall, he's like we talk about this LSU bias, and I had a weird bias against Terrace Marshall because I was like, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are so good that this guy can't possibly be good because he's just at their coattails. But this year, he was pretty good. Like, he was the only guy out there. He was the wide receiver 1, and he played really well. They used him a lot in the slot. They used him outside. He was much more versatile than I expected because the previous year he was mostly used as an outside guy. Just kind of went deep. He's got great speed for a tall receiver. He's like 6'3", 6'4". Probably is going to run like a 4.4 40. And like there's definitely a lot of work to be done with him to become a better all-around player. But like we've seen players like that get into the NFL, like Denzel Mims, like guys like that who are super great athletes, and if they just go to the right team that can use them well, they could become something very special. He reminds me a lot of another LSU guy, DJ Chark. I see a ton of similarities between them. And yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys are thinking about Terrace
I like
Marshall.
that comp a lot. Yeah, Terrace Marshall, I think he could be the sleeper this year as far as the guy who can go towards the back of the first round, second round, who can really come in and just be an excellent NFL wide receiver. I feel like it kind of reminds me how we felt about T. Higgins coming out last year in the sense that everyone knows he's going to be good, but like we kind of overthink it, and he goes to the second round in the real life NFL draft, and he looks great in the NFL. I get that feeling about Terrace Marshall. I like him a lot. I feel like being behind Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson shouldn't really take too much away from him because the guys in front of him were like insanely good. But yeah, like you said, this season he looks great. He was really utilized in a lot of ways in the LSU's offense, and I think he's going to be a really good receiver at the next level. I feel like if he lands in a good spot that'll make him a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, I feel like he can really show strong flashes of potential, and he could be a great player.
Yeah, given the fact that he's 6'3" and 200 pounds, he's got a really big body. Yet he has really good route running. He's got really good ball skills. He's got great run after the catch ability. So the only concern I have with him was that he had some minor drop issues this year, which is always a little bit concerning. But you can clean those up if you go to a good team. He is someone that I'm going to definitely reach for in the majority of my rookie drafts. I think he's worth reaching for. Especially in the second round, if you have him, might as well just take him. Although he may not drop that far, I do think that he might creep up the draft boards before long.
Yeah, there are some
after the combine.
There's some Terrace Marshall people out there. There's guys. I mean, there are guys who call him Terrence Marshall too, who probably don't know who he is, but the people who know who he is are gonna like him.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But
yeah, I really like him.
Speaking of people that could rise up our draft boards, do you guys each want to maybe mention one draft sleeper that you've noticed while you've been scouting?
Of course, let's do it. Alex, why don't you take us away with this one?
Yeah, so this is a guy who I found him by accident, and I'm very glad that I found him. So I was writing an article about small school sleepers in November, December for the website, and I was looking up these guys, and I found a guy from North Texas by the name of Jalen Darden. And what I saw, the first thing that stood out to me with Jalen Darden was his numbers. He was just insanely productive. He had a ton of touchdowns in the last couple of years. And then I looked at his size, and he's 5'9", 175. And I'm like, I need to know how this guy's scoring all these touchdowns. Like, this doesn't add up to me. And essentially, Jalen Darden he's what we thought Jalen Reagor would be. It's like if Jalen Reagor had a good quarterback in college. It was special. He was a great downfield threat. He's very fast, very twitchy, very quick. He had the most forced missed tackles of any receiver in this class. He had 23. So he's just tough to bring down. And he's not very physical because he's really small. He's a really short guy. He looks overmatched on contested throws. But, if you get the ball in his hands, like, he could be an absolute dynamo. I think he's a good mid-round pick. I'll definitely be grabbing him in like the second or third round of my rookie drafts. And yeah, like, he's a guy who I'm smitten with at this point, especially late in the draft. Nice. What do you think, Luke?
What round do you think in the real NFL draft he's going to get picked? Like round 4, 5?
It's going to depend a lot on his pro day numbers, his combine numbers. If he's running like a 4.3 or 4.2, he could easily be a third round pick. But there's also a world where he's like a 6th round pick. Like, just if teams are like, whatever, he's small and he's fast, but what else can he do? It's really hard to say, but definitely between the 3rd and the 6th, somewhere in that range.
Somewhere in there. Yeah, so for me, my guy is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I feel like a lot of people like him, or a lot of people don't. I'm on camp. I like him. I watched his film. There was one game from this season that he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. I forget which one it was, but he looked awesome. He's not the best route runner in the world, but he's extremely physical and tough to break down with the ball in his hands from what I saw. Like, it took like 2 guys to tackle him like every time he got the ball in his hands. He's an extremely physical runner, and when he got the ball in space, he can just like smash people. Like, he really was hard to bring down. I really dislike him a lot. I feel like if he goes to the right system and they utilize him in the right way, like the 49ers or the Ravens or something like that, like, I don't really want him to land in somewhere like that because the opportunity wouldn't be great. But I'm saying like somewhere where the offensive coordinator is smart enough to be able to use him in the correct way. Amon-Ra St. Brown could be a very nice wide receiver at the next level, and I feel like he could be a great fantasy wide receiver as well, given the opportunity. I feel like he'll be like a late second to third round rookie draft pick for fantasy football terms, and I feel like he will be an absolute steal. So I'm definitely in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Angel, who's your guy? Who are you sleeping on?
Before I tell you who I'm sleeping on, I do want to point out that the cat meowed at your take, which I believe means he agrees. So
Yeah,
excellent.
he seems to agree.
Does he?
I'm glad,
Mr. Baby?
Alex. I'm glad that your cat is an Amon-Ra St. Brown truther with me.
I think it's fitting too because he did it while he was asleep. So sleepers,
Excellent.
sleeping cat.
Ah, wow.
Excellent.
We love that. Well, speaking of sleeping, this is someone that I came across because of Alex. Alex knows my type perfectly. He's got it down to a science at this point. He knows that I like those small, quick wide receivers that work well in the slot and can make something out of nothing with manufactured touches. And that's how I came across my man, Amari Rogers, out of Clemson. He had 77 receptions this season for 1,020 yards and 7 touchdowns. And he was the go-to option, I felt like, for Trevor Lawrence when he needed a catch. So, Alex, I mean, I got to say, you nailed it. You were like, hey, look at this guy. He might be good. You might like him. And I love him. I like what I see from him. I can't help but think that he would be a really good fit on the Patriots. I feel like Belichick and McDaniels would have a field day with him. But I don't see him being anything more than a wide receiver 3 in fantasy. But I do think that he has the potential to be more if he lands in the right system where they just pepper him with targets and give him manufactured touches.
Yeah.
I really like him as well. Well, he is my number 2 pick for this segment, but St. Brown is my lovey boy.
I've seen you tweeting about St. Brown.
Yeah, Amari Rogers is also really good. Yeah, I do like him a lot. I seriously just I remember I tweeted about how much I liked him. Everyone was like, I didn't see it on film. Like, what did you see that I didn't? And I was like, I don't know. He's just like a freight train when he gets the ball. Like, I like that.
It's valid.
Yeah. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown and I like Amari Rogers. Amon-Ra St. Brown to me, very, very much like Juju Smith-Schuster, especially like the college version of Juju. I'm just like, oh yeah, like I see this. I see how this could work. And Amari Rogers is like, I've seen Amari Rogers come into the NFL 50 times and be good every single time. Like, I'm like, okay, this guy's going to be like, he's going to be an NFL player. Like, he's just solid.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, he looks good. He just looks good. I mean, it's Clemson. It's not like it's some kind of like random like D2 team. Shout out Trey Lance. But yeah, like Amari Rogers, he's coming from a very high pedigree program. And I think that we've seen Clemson wide receivers have great success in the NFL in the last 2 seasons. So I definitely am in on Amari Rogers.
Luke, can I tell you about my dream?
Tell me, what's your dream?
You see, Luke, I have a dream that somehow, some way, I would be able to invest in the careers of these players before they took off. And that somehow, some way, I would be able to maybe make some money by just, being good at fantasy football and knowing that these guys are going to break out. But it's just a pipe dream. There's no way.
Angel, it's not just a pipe dream. Listen, there's a website I have for you. It's called Prediction Strike. PredictionStrike.com.
Oh my God.
You can go on and you can invest in players pretty much as soon as they're drafted from the NFL or the NBA. You can go in and invest in your favorite players or rookies, no matter what year they are. You can go in and they go up or down based on their fantasy production. It's crazy. Like, for example, Jonathan Taylor went up over 300% as a stock in the last 2 months of the NFL season. 300%. He went to the freaking moon. He just destroyed his projections, and he made people a lot of money. And then in the NBA right now, Tyrese Halliburton and LaMelo Ball are going up huge. So seriously, hop in, invest in your favorite players, especially rookies, and make some serious cash on Prediction Strike. Check out our promo code 3CO, 3CO, and you get 50% of your deposit back. So go over to PredictionStrike.com and check out our promo code.
Beautiful.
Whoa. I didn't know my dream could become a reality. I feel like it's time to make some money. I do also feel enlightened.
Angel, you know what else would enlighten me? I'm transitioning. Look at this. You know what else would enlighten me?
Transition us, baby. What would it be?
Story time.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. I'm so proud of you. You've learned well.
Thank you. Alex, we've all seen your little cat walking around the screen this show. Tell us about him. Tell us about how you got a new cat.
So yeah, I got this guy yesterday.
Oh, look at him.
So cute. You got it today?
Oh my God.
No, I got him yesterday. He's been sleeping on my lap for the whole show. I had to like quiet him down by putting him there.
What's his name?
His name's Texas Pete.
I like that.
I just call him. Oh, he muted. I'll put you down. But yeah, I got this guy yesterday. He's very chill, very friendly, a good boy by every metric. Probably
Excellent.
great 40-yard dash for a cat from what I've seen.
What's his Dominator rating?
His Dominator rating. I don't have an exact number on it. I'm still trying to compile the statistics for that one, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very high. Yeah, I got this cat yesterday. I'm very happy with my purchase, and yeah, very happy today in general.
I heard
to hear your guys' stories.
I heard some rumors that your cat might be in the 97th percentile in terms of Dominator rating.
Sheesh.
That's
Texas
pretty high.
Pete dominating?
I mean, 8 weeks old, already attacking onions and dragging them across the kitchen floor.
Beautiful.
That's true. He does take
All right,
those
my
onions.
story time. It's nothing that eventful. I haven't really done anything that exciting today. But I do have a lot of homework awaiting me after the show is recorded. I have to animate 3 Spotify loops for a class. And let me tell you, gentlemen, I am no animator. So this is going to be an eventful day. I'm going to make some G Fuel. We're going to get all energized and focused. Going to put on some lo-fi chilled cow on YouTube. And we're going to grind out some animations, gentlemen. So It should be an excellent day. Angel, what's your story for us today?
Well, before that, let me ask you, what's your preferred G Fuel flavor?
I'm a Fazeberry man. I have a tub sitting off camera right now. Dude, Fazeberry is excellent. 1 second. It's right here.
I don't even know what G Fuel is. This stuff sounds like poison.
It's so good. It probably is poison, but it's okay.
Poison.
I like it because I'm at school, obviously, and I don't have a car, and I can't go drive to Walmart or whatever to restock on soda or whatever I want. I mean, there is a vending machine downstairs, but it's really expensive. G Fuel's nice because it's $30 for a tub with shipping, and there's how many servings in here? 40. And it's really easy to make. It's just water and the powder, and you shake it up, and it's delicious. And it's really good caffeine and stuff. So I enjoy it.
gfuel.com. Use promo code 3CO. That's the number 3CO.
We do not have a promo code for G Fuel. Don't listen to Angel.
Nothing.
I wish, dude. Imagine
what I got
what if you had
though?
What'd you get?
I got scared.
Really?
Scared.
What did you get scared by?
You see, this story starts where most stories do, with me doing laundry.
Excellent.
I was drying my clothes, and I just moved in with Alex a couple of months ago. I haven't used that drying machine too much. I've used it 2 or 3 times, and I'm just chilling upstairs waiting to go get my laundry, and the fire alarm just starts bursting, blaring, just going off. It was alarming. It was alarming. And I'm like, oh my God, did I just burn the building down? I thought it was me. For some odd reason, I thought that I was responsible for the fire alarm going off. So I just freaking book it downstairs, just run as fast as I can. I check my laundry. Nothing's on fire. I'm okay.
Good.
But you know who it was, actually? Yeah, I know. The kitten's upset by it too.
Texas Pete's
It was
angry.
the villains of the pod.
Yes.
The
Really?
same people. Yep, the same people that have destroyed our recordings multiple times now.
Damn it.
Destroyed a pipe and just started leaking the entire freaking first floor.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, it was upsetting. But I met a
crazy.
couple of our other tenants, all very unhappy as well. We were all very cold, but we all huddled and reminisced on the fact that these villains are ruining our lives.
Excellent. All right,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that was my story.
I'm gonna do something we don't have in the show doc that we definitely don't have. By the way, there's no show doc, but
Show doc?
let's all go around. What did we learn today? Everyone, give something you've learned today from this episode. Angel, you're going first. What'd you learn today?
What did I learn today? Putting me on the spot with this one. I learned that I might have to keep an eye on Kadarius Toney. That wasn't someone that I was particularly looking out for, but by the way you both made him sound, I might have to go in and check him out a little bit more, see if he might be worth a 3rd round flyer. As you know, Luke, I'm a big fan of wide receivers.
Huge.
So
Big fan of wide receivers.
Yeah, big wide receivers over running backs in Dynasty. Fight me on that.
Amen. So why do you like Damian Harris over Denzel Mims then?
Because Damian Harris is a beast and Denzel Mims is a New York Jet.
Okay.
That's it, really. If it had been
Excellent
any
analysis.
competent organization, I would be totally on board for Denzel Mims. but because it is the Jets, no.
Yes, that's a debate for another time. Continue with your
is.
learning, with your knowledge.
No. What my knowledge is, Kadarius Toney, man. Might have to look into him. Might have to spend like a late second round or early third round pick on him.
All right. Alex, what did you learn today?
I learned how to silence a cat during a podcast. I put him right to sleep. Put him in the sleeper hold, and now he's going back out.
He said nope.
Texas Pete going night-night. What I learned today is that I'm higher than I thought on Terrace Marshall, and I'm also keeping an eye out on Jalen Darden. I think Terrace Marshall is going to be a nice investment for me in Dynasty Leagues, and I will definitely be rostering him in a couple, hopefully, or maybe more. So that about does it for our episode today, guys. A little shorter than normal, but I feel like that was a good one. We talked a lot about some rookie wide receivers, talked about some sleepers, hit some news and notes, and we also did story time and some things we learned. So thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications for this show to make sure you get notified every time we drop a new episode. And please, if you're on Apple Podcasts, drop a written review for us and leave a 5-star. It really helps us grow, so we really appreciate that. So any closing words, gentlemen?
You can leave a 1-star too if you really want to. It would make us sad, but you can leave a 1-star.
Be honest.
Minimum
please.
4 stars.
Minimum 4 stars.
Minimum 4.
Does Texas Pete have any parting words for us, Alex?
He's sleeping again. I'm gonna leave him how he is.
Texas Pete
Put him in
Schlump.
sleeper hold.
Texas Pete has replaced Walter as the official mascot of the podcast. Walter's a toy now.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's the plaything of Texas Pete. So.
All right, guys.
Rip to that mixtape. But today is the day we said goodbye to Walter and welcome Texas Pete into our lives. No better way to close off the pod.
Beautiful day. Beautiful day. See you next time, everybody.
Bye, everyone.